being sarcastic. And in interesting news, astronomers find new planet capable of supporting life. I wish I could believe that, but anything coming out of the government that controls the satellites, I mean, they told us that, by the way, the president is now running TV ads about how he killed bin Laden. I mean, if he said he killed the Loch Ness Monster, I would believe it more. Or you know, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, the abominable snowman, werewolves, chupacabras. What are other mythical creatures? El Diablos, Minotaurs, Centaurs, Chimeras, Jackalopes. That's the new national. His re-election bid is he killed bin Laden. So we're going to be covering that as well. We got a ton of news in this second hour. On the political front, Ron Paul, one of our guys was able to talk to last night, coming up, talking about false flags. Huge Middle East news, geopolitical news, economic news. It's all coming up. But right now, let's take at least 30 minutes of phone calls on this live Friday edition. Let's go ahead and talk to Dave in New York. You're welcome, Dave, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Alex, for letting me on. I appreciate your tenacity, your enthusiasm, and your dedication to the cause.
Well, thank you, my brother. What's on your mind today?
Well, you mentioned, what are we going to do about it? Well, for the last 3 years, we've been standing at the Circle in Glens Falls, and we've passed out over 13,000 copies of your DVDs, Alex. We've gone to our local TV, public access. We've got your DVDs showing premiere every single evening. We've got your DVDs in containers at a lot of businesses, and I'm challenging your listeners to have your listening audience double in the next 2 months.
You know, that's a good idea. I think InfoWars puts out the most hardcore message, not perfect, but it's hardcore to wake people up. And look at how many people know about the New World Order now, or the Federal Reserve. We've come a long way, and now people are really ready to be awakened. Some folks are like, oh, things are still bad. You know, they ought to wake up on their own. No, no, no. Now's the time. That's why they're trying to come in and censor the web now. That's why they've passed CISPA in the House. The globalists are taking the velvet glove off because they know we're waking up.
Been at this for a long time. I'm a Vietnam vet, and I've got our oldest daughter's been in a wheelchair thanks to Agent Orange, so I'm motivated every single day. But like you say, I have never seen people more open, and the time is ripe. And all I'm doing is saying, Alex, your people, you need to get off your lazy duffs. I know a lot of you people are doing a lot, but by goodness, if each one of you is just burned 10 copies of Alex's tapes and you gave it to somebody, my God, it'd be tenfold.
You know, listen, I want to tell you right now, I totally agree with you. I feel like I'm not doing enough. Or when I cover some funny story, I get mad later saying I should have been more serious. Or, you know, when I play a reporter contest with a girl shooting a machine gun, you know, later I think, man, this stuff's so hardcore, I need to be more serious. But I think at a certain level, it's good that I'm just human, you're just human, and that we have a mix of things because A, we've got to be hardcore, but at the same time, we've got to cover some other issues as well, or it just becomes too depressing. But we've also got to focus on the positive victories we've had. But yeah, what are people thinking? I get calls and emails and see comments every day thanking me, and that's great. But folks, I'm here to get you moving. The power is in you, the people. And I cannot tell you what people like you out there have been able to do over the years. What type of response have you seen after your years of work?
Fantastic, Alex. When we first started standing at the Circle 3 years ago, people were giving us the finger and all kinds of stuff, but now they're tooting horns. We got people stopping by regularly to get we call it the flavor of the week. It's the different titles you've got, and I'm telling you, it's exciting, and I think that's why people might get depressed. You're on the defensive all the time. Get on the offensive and find out how much fun it is. We've got your InfoWars signs popping up all over the sides of barns, on tree trunks. You go around.
Tell you what, stay there. This is too important. I don't want to interrupt you. I want to come back, tell folks about your case, where you're at, what you've done as a blueprint for victory. But that's it. I always explain this. There's fight or flight. I'm not going to run because it doesn't feel good in my gut. I'm going to fight. And people that feel depressed, it's because just sitting at home, polishing your guns up, getting ready to blast the first federale or UN blue top that comes around, that's not fulfilling. Sure, you've got to get ready to defend yourself. That's part of your plan. But 90% of it has got to be about offense, 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 offense. We got to go straight at them. Stay there. We're going to come back to Dave, let him finish up and recap everything without me stuttering and interrupting. And then we're going to go, because I stutter because I'm just so just ready to go. I mean, I want to stomp some globalists in the info war. And then we'll go to Gordon, Rick, Ed, Charlie, and others. There are some amazing videos up at Infowars.com right now. They've just posted a whole nother giant crop of the off-the-chart amazing Infowars reporter contest videos at Infowars.com. Coming up, we were able to ask Ron Paul about this last night, and his speech was actually partially about false flag terror. That's coming up at the bottom of the hour. Then we'll continue with phone calls. Government secretly prepares to evacuate Chicago during NATO's summit. Standby shelters readied for residents. Steve Watson and Paul Joseph Watson were able to bring that up to Ron Paul. Also, Russian troops trained to take on the American people. That's in mainstream news. And they're reporting it like, thank God the Russians are here to help fight the American people. No, this is not April Fool's, even though we're in the month of April. This is real. City wants executive order to ban concealed carry in Tampa during RNC, turning a right into a privilege that can be revoked by bureaucrats. Yeah, a governor can't do that. Governor can declare a civil emergency unless the legislature comes in and overrides him. That's how most state constitutions are. But if he power grabs too much, he's in trouble. That's like Rick Perry lying and saying, executive order, you got to take the Gardasil shot that costs $900 for the 3 shots. So upwards of $300 or more per shot. They're like, yeah, but it killed people in the trials of Gardasil. He's like, it's the law. And girls just lined up everywhere, 11, 12, 13, 14. We had our deaths. We had our convulsions. And then the legislature came out and said, we're going to pass a law that you can't order that. Legislature, he couldn't order it. His executive order just made the health department put on the list of recommended to attend school. That's not a law either. But the legislature passed a law saying Rick Perry couldn't do that. He already couldn't. He's a criminal dirtbag. And all this tinkerbelling came out. And so now he had a little nervous breakdown on the campaign trail, and he was the golden boy at Bilderberg. We covered that in Endgame. Bye-bye, Rick Perry. Bye-bye, Tinker Boy. All right, let's continue. You know, Tinker, as in candy bleeper. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I've got a problem is I'm exercising a lot, folks, and I get crazed. I feel like I'm 22 years old right now. I've kind of enjoyed it when I was fat and semi-lethargic because I already had so much energy. I was still bouncing off the walls. But now it's just not fun. It was enjoyable when I weighed 270 pounds and somebody flipped me off on the highway and I would just not even laugh. I didn't even care. Now somebody does that. I want to tear their head off. Not good. But you know what? Feel better. I'm still out of shape. But side issue, I want to go back to your calls here. In the last little segment that some stations don't carry, Dave in New York was talking about, well, his story and what he's been able to do. I want you to recap that. Talk about the total 180 you've seen in the population and what you see unfolding now. Because I've got friends, family, neighbors all calling me going, I saw 3 signs for InfoWars in different parts of the city today. Or a couple signs, you know, showing the local radio station you're on and telling people to tune in. Wow, what is this? Is this something you're doing? And I'm getting calls and emails and seeing on Twitter and Facebook. In fact, hit us at Twitter or send it to us via email at Show Tips, photos of what you're seeing out there. All over the world, InfoWars is getting posted. All over the world. Again, as people see Ron Paul rising, educating people, winning in the campaign, and educating hearts and minds, the election stolen from him, they're now going to segue, they already were, into InfoWars. And I had thought internally this was going to happen. We're already seeing a lot of InfoWars signs and people with things over the years and calls to talk radio. But now it's like, boom. And, of course, years ago I went to UT and spoke to, with no promotion, 1,200 people. They turned away reportedly around 1,000. There's Ron Paul speaking to 4,000. I bet, in fact, I'm going to talk to a student group later in the year. I bet if I announced a month out, I could get 10,000 people at UT. What do you think? See, I haven't even done stunts like that to show people the power of InfoWars. Easily. You know what, guys? Get a student group to sponsor us. I want to go down there. 10,000. Goal's 10,000. It only fits 4,000 in that square. And that was full of Ron Paul. Right at full. We'll put 10,000 in there. I mean, like 5 years ago, 1,200, they turned away 1,000. I didn't even promote it. They're like, hey, Brave New Books wants you to come speak. Okay, show up. Giant crowds of people. And I had George Humphrey and others, just invited them down to speak with me. Okay, enough about that. The point is that it's time to exercise our power, your power. Give us a report, Dave. You're saying you're a Vietnam veteran, and you said your daughter's in a wheelchair thanks to Agent Orange. And I like how the fact that you're not taking that laying down, you're exposing it to save other people from the GMO, the shots, all of it. Tell people in the next 3-4 minutes you've got the floor about yourself and what you've done, because what you were telling me earlier is a roadmap to victory.
Well, the thing is, Alex, it just takes one person. It takes yourself. It takes a person. Just be motivated. Just have enough love for your country, a love for this great nation, a love for your liberty, your freedom, and go on the offensive. This is not the time to be embarrassed about talking to a stranger. And so we've just a group of us have gathered, and like I said, we've passed out over 13,000 of your DVDs. We've got InfoWars signs showing up all over the area. We recycle these lawn signs that politicians have. We grab them up when the election's over, and we recycle them. We put a different message on them, like Infowars.com. We go to the office supply store. We get stamps, and it's amazing the number of things you can find to put Infowars.com on, whether it's a FRN or disc, envelope. But we just are going on the offensive, and it's so much fun. And if you're homebound, develop an email list. We have close to 500 names now on our email list, and it's being picked up, and it's even going international. And matter of fact, one of the story yesterday that you had about the Russian troops, that went out on our email alert, we call it. So all I'm doing is saying, folks, come on. We don't have a lot of time, and I know if we put a little bit of effort into this, we could have Alex's program, his listenership, double within the next month or two. And I guess that's all I'm trying to say, Alex. It's a call to action. We ain't got a lot of time. And again, I was personally involved with the Agent Orange cover-up, the class action lawsuit, and it just broke my heart when we found that the chemical companies provided us letters that they had sent to the government saying, do not use Agent Orange, it will cause mutation, and they still went ahead and used it.
Listen, my uncle on both sides of their family, my family, their family, no history of birth defects, no history of problems, comes back from being a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, flying through that stuff, and all the hell he saw, their first child, holes in his heart, everything. It was so sweet. I knew him. He died when he was like a few years old. But they lived in Dallas when we did, and I knew him. There's photos of me with him. I have vague memories of him. And he was so sweet. And it just happened to a bunch of people he knew as well. And Monsanto knew what they were doing. And that's the thing. That's like Bayer knew for 11 years they were shipping out Factor 8 with hepatitis and AIDS in it, HIV, the virus. And it's just, and the documents came out, they knew and thought it was funny. It's like funny. It's funny to people have a kid and love it and it dies. It's funny to them. And you know what? I think it's funny what we're going to do to the New World Order. Because let me tell you something, folks. They're launching a giant offensive against us for censorship, secret arrest, shutting down the farms because they're scared. It's time to stop being scared of the New World Order, folks, and it's time to go on the offense. The offense. And everybody going, I'm buying guns, I'm getting ready for war. Folks, once that starts, it's going to be hellish. We want to not have that happen, and back to globalist off in the info.